Hey guys, so I've been asked a lot about laying down the rails and laying down the rails for children, which is written by Simply Charlotte Mason, and it is a Charlotte Mason Habits Handbook. Habit was our focus in school this year, not just by doing laying down the rails, but also just good habits in the mornings with school, getting started on independent work, good evening habits, all sorts of things this year. I really wanted to begin working on that with my kids this year. But I've referenced this a lot, especially in some of my morning basket videos. So I just wanted to share about this program, especially because anybody who is attending FPEA this coming weekend, the Simply Charlotte Mason booth will be in the expo hall, and that's actually where I got this. You can look through a lot of the stuff there as well. So if you're interested in that and you're attending any upcoming conventions, I thought it was a good time to talk about this. I will say that I don't know all of the technicalities as far as showing like copyright and everything as far as showing an entire curriculum. So I'm going to give you an overview on how this works, and then I'm also going to show you portions of some of the sections. There are also downloads available on the Simply Charlotte Mason website if you're ever interested in seeing inside of any of that curriculum. So if you want to know more, you can go check out their website. So this is not a 1-year curriculum. This is like a 10-year curriculum, and that's actually what they suggest in the book, that you'd work on 6 habits throughout the school year, doing about 6 to 8 habits each year. I mean 6 to 8 weeks on each habit. So that's 6 habits throughout the school year. There are 60 habits in this book, and then it would take you about 10 years, although if you don't have 10 years left in school when you start, which we didn't for my oldest, you know, any amount of habits that you work on is a good amount of habits formed. So you do need all of this. I do suggest all of this. If you only are going to get one, I really couldn't tell you which one. Probably this Laying Down the Rails Habits Handbook, not the Habit Training Companion books. These come together because this gives you all of Charlotte Mason's thoughts on the particular habit that you're studying, although all of the outline as far as how to do it over the course of a few weeks and where to write down your thoughts and all the work for you and your kids are in these books. So first I'll show you this. So I'll do a little flip through here at the beginning. Here's got a table of contents, the importance of rails here. Intro. This part is all about Charlotte Mason's thoughts about habits as a whole. And when you get down to part 2, it's where it teaches you how to cultivate good habits, and then eventually you get into these different habits. So, for example, the habit of cleanliness, which is the first habit that's in here, gives you her thoughts on cleanliness, questions to ask about cleanliness, and some quotes on cleanliness, and then you move on to the next habit. So this is all you get for the 6 to 8 week study that you're going to be doing. So all 12 or so lessons on cleanliness are in these books. So there's that. There's the habit of courtesy. Again, thoughts on courtesy, questions to ask about courtesy, quotes about courtesy, and then you move on to kindness. These are divided up into decency and propriety habits, mental habits, moral habits, physical habits, and religious habits. And they do suggest rotating through, not just doing all, say, moral or mental habits through the entire year. They kind of suggest to alternate through. So for me, I just picked some of the fundamental habits I wanted to instill in my kids and have them start to cultivate. So this year we did focus on cleanliness, we focused on order, obedience, and we did there's something on Sundays, Sunday keeping. So we worked on those this year. So that's the info as far as what's in this book, and I'll show you now in these books what that looks like. I'm not going to show you the habits that we did specifically just because my handwriting is in them and things that are personal to our family, goals and things like that are written in there. So although I believe that order, the one that we most recently finished, would be fine to show. Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay, so when you go down through this book now, this is book 1 and book 2. Each book contains 30 of the habits. So book 1, there's a little foreword. How to use this. This is where it teaches you how to use this as a curriculum. So this is the adult handbook here, is more her thoughts on it. This is how to use this curriculum. Once or twice a week, read a lesson together. Every day, help your children apply what they learned by practicing the new habit, etc. Let me get over to a habit that we hadn't done. Okay, so the habit of courtesy, which we did not do. Parent prep. Read the detailed thoughts about courtesy on page 30 and 31 of Laying Down the Rails, and skim the lessons below. So that's where you would go back to that book, read her thoughts on it. Then based on her thoughts and all of that on the habit, you fill in this section. So goals for this habit, a person or story from my life that demonstrates this habit, additional stories, poems, quotes, or Bible verses that I want to use. You go through and see everything that she's put in here. This is Sonia Schaefer. Everything that she's written in here first, and then you can, if there's anything additional, like another Bible verse that you'd like to use, you can put that in there. Other activities we could do, and celebration ideas. So for example, when we did the habit of order, our celebration idea was to have a dinner party with the grandparents over so they could see everything that the kids had done to organize and things like that. So there's different ways you can celebrate the completion of each habit. So lesson 1 here is read the definition and discuss courtesy. Share with children any goals that you've identified for this habit. Also get their input on changes they think need to be made. I love that part. That's a part of almost every lesson, is getting their feedback on where they see habits need to be formed as well. So it's not just you putting all this on them. So then read the biblical principle found in Titus 3:1 and 2 from your preferred version of the Bible. Considerations for others allows us to put other people before ourselves. True humility is hard. It goes against our fleshly nature, but it is one of the hallmarks of godly character. So that was lesson 1. That's all that you had for lesson 1. So this is why this is in our morning basket, because they're short lessons, as are most Charlotte Mason style subjects. So lesson 2 is here. It's talking about point 1 here. This point 1 is from the Laying Down the Rails. So do not neglect to show courtesy just because a person is familiar to you. Familiarity should not breed disrespect. There's a quote there. That's lesson 2. You discuss that. Lesson 3, you talk over this. You play a game of Mother May I. Lesson 4, you are, you're reading a story of Sir Walter Raleigh. Lesson 5, you're talking to your children about wisely being courteous towards strangers. You read some from Genesis. Lesson 6 is a poem. Lesson 7 is a fable. Lesson 8, some more Bible verses. Lesson 9, role playing. Lesson 10, some quotes. Lesson 11, another fable. Lesson 12 is a story. Lesson 13, have a parent share a moment to share a story from your life or tell about a person that exemplifies courtesy. That's it. So this would take, about 6 weeks reading twice a day, 1 week, or reading twice a week. 1 week you would read, and 3 times a week to get to 13. And you're practicing this every single day in your home. But obviously, because the habits are everything from Bible study and tidying up and showing respect, you can't say, 10 minutes every morning we're gonna practice showing respect. So you're kind of having this as an area of focus. You're pointing out opportunities to show respect. If that's the habit you're working on, you are keeping your eyes peeled to teachable moments, but you're specifically opening this book 2 days a week. So there's that. That's 13 lessons, and then the next one in the book is kindness, and it's laid out the same way. Let me flip to one in this book. So here we have the habit of health. It's laid out the same way, the parent prep section. Then the first lesson is discussing health, identifying any goals that you've made for that, or any goals that the children may have. Then you've got some, lesson 2, yes. So you have a poem by Robert Louis Stevenson. You've got a quote from Shakespeare. You're talking about bullet point 4, which is poor health habits will now reap a failing body for future years. You've got a story, a quote, activities. So it's just, it's all very similar. It pulls scripture, it pulls poems, it pulls stories, it identifies areas of focus and opportunity. And this one again is 12 lessons, and that seemed to be consistent, that there were about 12 lessons through each habit. Outdoor life. So I will tell you all of the habits as the last thing that I leave you with here. I hope that was helpful. If you guys have questions about this, you can ask me down in the comments below and I will answer based on our experience. But again, we've only been using this for 1 year, even though I looked at it for about 3 years. So you've got cleanliness, courtesy, kindness, manners, modesty and purity, neatness, order, regularity, other habits of decency. Attention, imagining, meditation, memorizing, mental effort, observation, perfect execution, reading for instruction, remembering, thinking, and other mental habits. Moral habits, you have integrity, obedience, personal initiative, reverence, self-control, sweet, even temper, truthfulness, and usefulness. Then physical habits, alertness to seize opportunities, fortitude, health, managing your body, music, outdoor life, quick perception of senses, self-control in emergencies, self-discipline in habits, self-restraint in indulgences, training the ear and voice. And then you have religious habits, regularity in devotions, reverent attitude, Sunday keeping, Thanksgiving, thought of God, and then you have a family habit of reading aloud. Repairing the rails is section 3, which we haven't done yet. I should mention though, breaking a bad habit, dealing with lying, dealing with dawdling, dealing with malicious, mean behavior, dealing with temper tantrums, dealing with a sullen, moody child. You have a checklist in the back, a habits index, and some personal help in the back, which again, I also have not used. There was something else I was gonna say. I can't recall right now what that was. I think it had to do with what I was saying here at the beginning, or when I was reading through. Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. So talking about order, which we had just done, I underlined a lot in that section because some of it is hard for me. There are bad habits that I have formed, and so then I'm passing on bad habits to my kids. So it's very refining to go through this because, you know, she's a truth teller. So when you're going through and she's saying things like, we put too much emotional attachment to things sometimes, and then it causes our kids to hold on to things that are chipped or broken and not worth hanging on to. That was a big one for me. I was like, oh, that's not something I wanted to hear. And she goes over it time and time again in here that, yes, absolutely, habits are formed whether we try to or not. So we should definitely be trying to form the proper habits. And that's just it. Habits are going to be formed whether you're intentional with it or whether you're not intentional with it. So it's best to be intentional with it and help offer the opportunity to cultivate good habits that are going to carry our children and ourselves, because we're all getting a second chance here to reclaim our education through life and to make life much not only easier but more enjoyable for everyone. So hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, ask me down below. And I'm sorry that it took me so long to get around to doing this video, but I did want to wait until it is like a curriculum purchasing season, so it would be most helpful to most of you. So thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.